What's up, guys? It's your boy Dark Sage back with another video, and today we're finna be doing What If Deku Was a Fade Runner Part 1. But before we get into the video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, because it'll help a young dude out. But we won't talk about that. So yeah, let's get into the video. We see Deku's girlfriend, Uraraka, and well, Bakugo at the backseat of the bus, or a bus, as Class 1A would be heading towards the USJ. Uraraka and Deku, they've been getting distant lately. Deku has been seeing that Uraraka isn't really paying him that much attention as she did before. He would constantly ask her about this, but she would always reply with the same, Izuku, it's all in your head. Stop being insecure. As Deku would just nod most of the time. And, the other times he would try to argue her down, but she'd always win. But this time, it was different. Deku, while they were on the bus, he looked back, and he saw Uraraka with her head down. Deku would get up from where he was sitting to walk back there. And as he did, he would see Uraraka with something in her mouth. I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's a body part and it's on Bakugo. Yeah, use your imagination, but no, fuck it. She's getting piped down in that bitch. She's sucking on that shit, sliding on that bitch. She's devouring that nigga. As Deku would see this, and he wouldn't be too happy. Deku's hair, it would start to flow up. Sparks of electricity would form all around his body. Deku would smile, seeing that, Uraraka and Bakugo haven't seen him yet, seeing that they're too busy getting intimate with one another. But Deku would just calm down, as he would walk back to his seat, sit down, and, he'd wait till they get to the USJ. And, I know y'all are thinking, I know for a fact y'all are thinking, there are like 20 kids on this fucking bus. How the fuck is nobody else seeing this? Plot is literally the only reason they haven't seen this. Yeah, plot. It's all plot. Yeah, but yeah, they would arrive at the USJ, and everybody would get off the bus. Once Uraraka walked off, she'd be wiping her face and fixing her hair. As she would go with the girls. As Deku, he would go with the boys. As they would split off into two groups, as they would follow Aizawa to meet 13. As Deku, he didn't inherit One for All. Yeah, nah. Bakugo got that shit. Yeah, Bakugo got that shit. And it seemed often to Deku that Bakugo was seemingly getting anything he wanted because he was strong. Because he had a strong quirk. And Deku felt discriminated against. Because his quirk wasn't really that good. They called it something about leveling up. That was his quirk, level up. But they didn't pay any attention to it because Deku could only form, electric sparks around his body. And he could shock other things. But this would change once he saw what Uraraka did, and his level skyrocketed without him knowing. But Izuku, well, he'd still be walking with the boys, as Bakugo would have a smirk on his face every time he looked at Izuku. Deku would know what this smirk was about, as he was fuming, and almost everybody that was in his group could feel, well, bloodlust coming off this nigga. As Bakugo damn near busted out laughing, as, well, he knew that Deku couldn't do shit to him. And that was the reason Uraraka cheated. She wanted somebody strong. She wanted somebody like Bakugo. Those were her words exactly when she cheated on him. That's what she told Bakugo, at least. But Bakugo would be the one to insist that they would go on with this plan. And, well, they did. And this is gonna cause a lot of major problems, you see. This is gonna cause a lot of shit to change. But yeah. So they would finally arrive inside of the USJ, and they'd meet up with 13. The classic shit would happen. Kirishima would say, "Wait, are those villains?" On some dumbass shit. 13 would say, "Wait, what, nigga? Where?" Does she turn around? He turn around? I don't know. I have this problem every time. As they would see multiple black portals open up with fucking villains pouring out of them bitches. But instead of Aizawa being the first one to jump down, Deku would be the first one to jump down. And this nigga was he was about all the smoke. This nigga didn't give a fuck. He said, "Alright, bet. He wanna cheat on my bitch? Think he gonna get away with it? Alright, bet. Alright, bet that up." This nigga was fuming. This nigga fucking Deku had smoke coming off his shit. And this time, it wasn't electricity. It wasn't just electric sparks. It was fucking plasma, jit. It was plasma coming off this nigga. As he look at all the villains, as Deku, well, he disappeared from everybody's sight. As everybody would be confused. Where the fuck did this nigga go? Where's Izuku? Where's Izuku? Right here, nigga. As he'd appear in front of the first villain, cock his shit back, and swing on this nigga. Like, when I say swing on this nigga, like, this punch Deku was finna send to this villain's head was enough to crack a nigga shit. Like, this nigga ended his shit respectfully. Deku would go on to knock the fuck out of the first villain, and continue to do so to every villain that he saw, until he got to Shigaraki. He would already know that this nigga was the ringleader. Fucking Kirigiri, he tried to get fucking Shigaraki out of there, saying that he knew Deku was about that life. He said, he thought to himself, "Oh yeah, this nigga is definitely gonna curb stomp Master Shigaraki. I cannot allow that to happen." As he would try to open a portal, but Deku was like, "Oh no, fuck that." He would put a fucking plasma ball inside of Kirigiri's body. And even though it was all smoke, his body was like completely smoke, I believe. Or made out of some substance. I don't know how he has a physical body. But yeah, Deku would shove a plasma ball inside of him, which would literally burn Kirigiri from the inside out. Kirigiri would start to like regenerate, but by this time, this nigga Deku had moved on. He started walking slowly up to Shigaraki, and he said these words exactly. "Hey man, no cap, it's not your fault. What's about to happen is not your fault. I'm so sorry. It's just I gotta blow off some steam, and like you were here along with all them villains, so like I'm sorry, man." As Deku would disappear, as he'd appear behind him, grabbing the back of Shigaraki's head, slamming it into the ground. As he'd continue this about at least a good 15 times. And after he did this, Deku would get his foot, as he would continue to stomp Shigaraki's head into the ground, as he then pull Shigaraki's face up. Shigaraki, yeah, he'd be trying to fight back, trying to grab Deku and shit, but nah, that plasma, yeah, it's burning his stupid ass. Seeing that Deku had, well, made a plasma shield around him, saying that he already knew what Shigaraki's quirk was from, well, watching him. This nigga, well, he was still trying to box niggas and shit. He was trying to escape Izuku as well, so he was throwing niggas in front of, well, him so that they could take the blow instead of Izuku. And Deku, when Shigaraki did this, could see that his quirk was consistently breaking and decomposing of, well, people's skin. And so Deku was like, yeah, I'm not getting touched by this fuck nigga. And so when motherfucking when this nigga Shigaraki went to touch Izuku, he got burnt. As I said before, Deku would have placed a plasma shield around his entire body, saying that this nigga was not trying to lose any skin. And so after Deku had placed this shield around his body, he'd continue to beat the fuck out of Shigaraki. Now we're gonna cut to like Class 1A's perspective. Is we go to Aizawa to, what the fuck? Who pissed this nigga off? Problem child. The fuck? Who hurt you? As Bakugo's jaw would be dropped along with Uraraka's. She'd be like, wait, he's so strong. I shouldn't have done this. What if he finds out? No, he won't find out. He couldn't have found out. It's impossible. As the rest of Class 1A would just be like, yeah, this nigga different. He's different. He just took out all of them villains single-handedly. This nigga's different. I'm not fucking with him. Even Todoroki, the coldest nigga in the game, I'm not fucking with him. He's different. That nigga was raised on something different. Nigga was raised on perks and heroin. This power it's unreal. Fucking Todoroki would be thinking this. So the rest of, well, Ida wouldn't be there, not now, because, you know, Aizawa would have told him to go get All Might, but I mean, there was no need for that shit. And yeah, Deku would basically go on to pummel the fuck out of Shigaraki. Shigaraki, yeah, he'd feel every last little bit of this shit, and it wouldn't feel the greatest. Like, this nigga got hit with the Mack truck, like the 3000 Mack truck deluxe. Respectfully knocked his shit. Sent this nigga 6 feet under. Like, this nigga hit him with at least 20 haymakers in the time that it took Kirigiri to respawn on some fucking Fortnite shit. And when this nigga Kirigiri did respawn, this nigga Deku did the same shit. Burnt his shit. Tossed a fucking plasma ball towards this shit. Was like, nah, I'm not done. Fuck all that. I'm still mad. Because he'd continue to beat the fuck out of Shigaraki. Kirigiri would have to respawn all over again, which would be another 20-minute process. And yeah, at this point, Shigaraki, yeah, he was fucked. Yeah, there was no way he was coming back from this. But once Deku had basically blew off all of his steam, he curve stomped fucking Shigaraki a few more times, and then he lift Shigaraki up and kick him away, sending him flying and basically bursting through a wall. And by this time, Kirigiri would have fucking responded, as he'd have saw that everybody was fucking knocked. Even like the main fucking villains like Toga, Dabi, Twice, all they good asses. I don't know if Twice was not, fuck it. Twice was there. Twice was there, and he got his shit knocked, demon style. He tried to use his stupid ass quirk and got his shit slid. And nigga Deku cocked back and slapped his shit twice. He slapped his shit twice. That nigga clone was catching the smoke too. This nigga Twice was not. This nigga Twice got hit with the fucking haymaker respectfully. Oh, stupid ass. But yeah. Fuck. I'm stupid, yo. Like, I'm in a good mood. That's all y'all need to know. But fucking This nigga Deku, after he would go on to like fold pretty much everybody, would go back up to his class 1A. He would see Bakugo, as he'd say, "Nah, nigga, you ain't safe either. Run your shit." As Bakugo would say, "What?" Deku would say, "Nigga, you are not safe. Run them hands." As Deku basically would make plasma fists. Is He'd say, "Alright, nigga, I'm ready. Now you either gonna make them little bitty ass explosions or you're getting dropped. Like, I put that on like everything I love. I'm gonna knock your shit." As Bakugo was nervous, seeing that he just saw how strong Deku was, but that little insanity version of Bakugo kicked in. He was basically like, do he know who I am? Hold on, I didn't beat this nerd before." As Bakugo would say, "You damn nerd, you had me shook there for a minute, but not anymore. I'm gonna beat your ass." As Deku would say, "Oh yeah, yeah. I already know what you did. You and that little slut." As he'd look over at Uraraka, as everybody, mind you, would still have their jaw dropped, like they would deadass like be confused at what had happened and how this nigga Deku gained such power. As Deku, this nigga Deku wasn't having it. He was like, "Oh, you was getting head from my bitch, mind you." As they'd be like, "What? When did this happen?" Todoroki would say this, as Deku would say, "Oh, y'all didn't know, huh? This nigga was getting head on the back of the bus. The bus. They're bold. They're dead ass bold." As class 1A would look at Bakugo and they were like, "The bus? Nigga, you're bold. You thought this nigga Deku wasn't gonna find out?" Yeah. Even Aizawa was like, "Yeah, you gonna have to run your ones with him. I ain't even gonna stop it. And if All Might show up, yeah, I'm gonna tell him not to stop it. You smoothly gonna have to get your ass beaten. Catch your shit like a man. Take your ass beaten like a man. If you survive, it'll be a miracle." As this nigga Deku would get into his fighting stance, as he'd say, "I kind of saw Aizawa." As Aizawa would be like, "I bet." As he'd be like, 3, 2, 1, begin. As Bakugo would rush Izuku, but as I said before, this nigga Deku, he's boxing on literally every set. He doesn't care. This nigga don't care about shit. He said, "Fuck you, fuck everything you stand for. I'm finna beat your ass respectfully." As Deku would dodge this fucking explosion that Bakugo was finna send to his ass. Is he'd grab Bakugo by the collar, slamming him into the ground. As Deku would use his plasma fist, as it would start to morph into, a claw, like you could see on the screen. As Deku would begin to punch the absolute fuck out of Bakugo. Like he would beat this man like a slave. He would beat this man like a slave. A runaway slave, to be more exact. Like this nigga was not playing. He did not care about shit. He said, "Fuck you. I'm beating your ass." This nigga Deku, he beat the fuck out of him. And after he got done grounding his shit, after he got done grounding his shit, Bakugo got up. He got back up. As he would wipe away the blood from his nose, as he'd say, "Is that all you got?" As Deku would say, "Oh, you still up, huh? Oh, pussy ass nigga. I swear, all them fucking times. I called you Kachan. I thought we was cool. But you snaked me like this? Oh, nah. Fuck all that." As Deku's other hand would, become a claw. Is like, Uraraka would be worried as she'd yell out, "Izuku, stop! He doesn't deserve this." Deku, Deku would look over at Uraraka with the most blandest face. But Bakugo would take this time to attack this nigga. As he'd rush at Deku, is this time he'd hit him with an explosion. But this explosion was kind of big. Is well, it kind of broke Izuku's shoulder. As Deku would have been sent flying back, as everybody would have saw this, is they'd have been like, "Ooh, shit, yeah, I don't think he's getting up from that one." When I tell you this nigga Deku got up so quick, popped his shit right back into place, and was like, "Okay, so you gonna catch a nigga off guard? I'm beating your ass." This nigga was on fucking demon timing. He rushed his ass. He rushed this nigga Bakugo. He said, "Fuck you, I'm on your shit." He hit this nigga with a left, then a right. Then he hit a nigga with a hesitation. Like, he faked like he was finna hit him with another right. But this nigga Deku hit him with an uppercut, sending his ass flying into the air. He'd have teleported behind, well, Bakugo. Is he'd have grabbed Bakugo by the throat. Is he'd have brought him into a headlock. Is Deku would have been on, he'd have been on his demon shit. He just started choking the fuck out of Bakugo on some Baki type shit. He was choking this nigga like he was Muhammad Ali Jr. He was not playing. He'd have begun to actually like try to kill this nigga. His Bakugo would be struggling, setting off explosions, but this wouldn't work. This wouldn't work. But Aizawa would be like, Izuku, just run the ones. I actually kind of want to see this fight. Deku would be like, "Oh, all right, I got you. I'm finna beat his ass anyway." As Deku would have released Bakugo from this devastating chokehold, is he'd have sent him flying to the ground, and once Deku dropped down, he'd have said, "All right, I'm ready." Oh, whole ass nigga. Bakugo would have got up, pissed as hell. He was a little bit dazed, but he could still fight. He would run at Deku. Deku would dodge 5 of the explosions Bakugo was trying to send at him. As, Deku would take his hand as he jam it straight into Bakugo's stomach. As he'd continue this process at least 3 more times. Until he'd grab Bakugo's head, which Bakugo was still in shock and was damn near coughing up, like, loads of blood. As Deku would take his head and knee it as hard as he possibly could, sending this nigga Bakugo flying back. But before, Bakugo could land into a wall or like the ground or some shit, Deku would appear behind him. Deku would have a ball of plasma in his hand. He'd push it into Bakugo's stomach like a key blast on some DBZ shit. As this plasma ball would explode on Bakugo's back, as it would send him flying. Bakugo would have a huge gash on his back. And at this time, All Might would show up, along with a few other heroes. As he'd see Bakugo flying through the air, as he'd assume it was a villain, but nah, it wasn't no villain. It was Deku. Deku was on his nigga's bumpers. He was trying to kill his ass. He had no regard for life. This nigga didn't care no more. As Deku would see All Might and be like, "Oh, hey All Might, what's up?" As All Might would be like, "Where are the villains?" As he would see, all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Lackeys of Shigaraki on the ground, like, beat the fuck up. Is Deku would say, "Oh yeah, there they are. I kinda took care of them already, and now I'm beating the fuck out of Bakugo." But before All Might could ask any more questions, Izuku was gone. Izuku had appeared right on top of Bakugo, as he'd have brought his foot down on this nigga's neck, as he'd have said, "Alright, Bakugo, I'm tired of playing with you. You fucked my bitch, and I still have like choice words for her, and I might even slap the fuck out of her, who knows. But I'm about tired of you. You've disrespected me my whole life, and I just sat there and took it. But not anymore. Is Deku, well, would form a ball of light in his hand. He'd condense it down smaller and smaller until it fit the size of, well, it fit the size of his pinky finger. As he would tap Bakugo's head as he'd leave, as Bakugo could feel his brain feeling like it was in a fucking earthquake or some shit. Like this was like 9 billion times worse than a migraine. Like this headache Bakugo was having, it was the way Deku was going to torture him for what he did basically. As Bakugo would be on the ground screaming in agony. As All Might would see what Deku just did, as he wouldn't be too happy about this, but Aizawa would be like, nah, G, he deserved that shit. I ain't even gonna cap to you. You gonna have to let him get over with that one. Is fucking All Might would be like, get over with that one. What did you just see him? You know he's the, as he to whisper this part. You know he's the successor of my quirk, right? As that's why Bakugo's explosions were pretty big enough to dislocate Deku's shoulder. And All Might would say, I thought Izuku didn't have a strong quirk. As Aizawa would say, no, it's not so much as that. He did have a strong quirk, and it was level up. As that would be what it said on his document. And I would presume that after, well, what Bakugo did, Izuku probably got a huge level up. And yeah, he did. Deku, he's leveled up like a lot. This nigga's level went from like 10 to like over 9 million in a single instance. Like, but this was like no ordinary like instance. Like, this power was made strictly to help Deku. And if Deku's anger was acceded past like rage, he'd get a power up. And well, once he's like calmed down, his power or his fucking level will go back down to probably 1,000. But yeah, Deku basically got this little level up from rage. But that doesn't matter right now. Is Deku would now be in front of Uraraka. Is he'd be like, you fucking slut. Is he would walk up to Uraraka and everybody would see Deku smack the dog shit out of her. Mind you, he still has this fucking plasma claw on. As he'd say, you bitch, I loved you. And you go and do something like this. Just goes to show, you can't trust sluts, can you? As Deku would pick her up off the ground by her hair. As he would toss Uraraka up and he'd kick her to where Bakugo was. As she'd slam into the ground hard as she'd cough up blood. As Deku would say, alright, I think that's enough. As Deku, well, would be ready to go now. As, well, all of Class 1A, they wouldn't say shit. They'd load up the bus, say peace out to All Might, and, they heading back to campus. And, when they got back there, yeah, everybody heard of what this nigga Deku did. Like, they heard of what this nigga did. And they were kind of proud of him. Pretty much everybody was proud of what Deku did. Because they knew Deku to never stand up for himself. Well, not a lot at least. But now Deku is strong. And this power he had obtained, it could be used to prove a lot of people wrong. Such as his parents. People that called him loser. And yeah. All of that good shit. But Deku, well, he'd be kind of tired after having such a huge power up. And he'd want some rest. He would go back to his dorm. As he'd lay on his bed, this Deku would think to himself, yeah, bitch ass nigga, I should have killed his ass. I swear, niggas these days have no respect. I swear. Should have folded his bitch ass when I had the chance. Deku basically would have been grumbling all of this as he'd have eventually dozed off to sleep into the dream world. But I'm gonna leave it off here because I just kind of wanted to make a gag with it just for shits and giggles. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.